At the dawn of the 18th century, Mexico stood at the crossroads of empire and earth, a land shaped by ambition, faith, and the forces of nature itself. In the heart of the 18th century, Mexico was a land of contrasts. Grand bar cathedrals rising above crowded streets, silver pouring from the mountains, and entire cities carved from stone by human hands. But behind this, beauty lay labor, struggle, and a deep dependence on the natural world. As part of the Spanish Empire, New Spain became one of the most important regions in the Americas. Its wealth fueled monumental construction projects, from churches and palaces to aqueducts and roads, each designed to display power, devotion, and control. This era was defined by three powerful forces: architecture that symbolized faith and authority, construction driven by indigenous and enslaved labor, and a landscape that both provided resources and imposed limits. In this episode, we explore how 18th century Mexico was built, stone by stone, through its architecture, its people, and its relationship with the natural environment. 18th century Mexican architecture was shaped by several key groups. Architects and master builders, often trained in European styles, designed grand structures while adapting them to local materials and traditions. A notable example is Lorenzo Rodriguez, whose Baroque designs helped define Mexico's colonial architectural style. It commissioned cathedrals, monasteries, and convents funded by tithes and donations. These buildings symbolized religious authority and reinforced the church's influence in daily life. Wealthy landowners and the Spanish elite used profits from land and silver mining to build palaces, haciendas, and civic structures. Architecture became a display of wealth, power, and loyalty to the Spanish crown. Indigenous laborers and enslaved workers carried out the physical construction. They quarried stone, cut timber, and built under harsh conditions, contributing essential skills and knowledge while receiving little recognition. These groups come together in reflection. The buildings of 18th century Mexico reveal a society shaped by power, faith, wealth, and labor, each leaving a lasting mark on the landscape. Major architectural and construction developments were centered in Mexico City, the political and religious capital of New Spain, where government, religious, and civic buildings reflected colonial power and influence. Other key cities, including Puebla, Guanajuato, Zacatecas, Oaxaca, and Valladolid, Morelia, also experienced significant growth, especially in mining regions, where wealth from silver production financed churches, public buildings, and urban infrastructure. In rural areas, large haciendas served as hubs of agricultural production and construction, shaping the countryside both economically and architecturally. Along frontier regions, mission complexes were established to support colonization and religious conversion, designed to integrate with the surrounding natural landscape while serving social. Throughout the 18th century, 1700 to 1800, Baroque architecture reached its height, particularly between 1730 and 1780, when richly decorated buildings became most prominent. By the late 18th century, neoclassical styles began to appear, influenced by the Enlightenment and the Bourbon reforms, which promoted greater simplicity, balance, and symmetry in design. At the same time, construction techniques advanced as the exploitation of natural resources increased. This growth was closely tied to the mining boom of the mid to late 1700s, which provided both the materials and wealth needed to support large-scale architectural development. In the end, 18th century Mexico reveals a powerful connection between people, architecture, and nature. Through the influence of the church, skilled indigenous labor, and wealthy elites, cities and rural landscapes were transformed into lasting architectural achievements. Baroque churches, grand haciendas, and carefully planned cities reflected both European ideals and local traditions, using natural resources from the land itself. These structures not only shaped daily life in New Spain, but also left a legacy that continues to define Mexico's cultural and architectural identity today.